Good morning. I'm starting this early spring yard and cover crop tour. It's Sunday. I think it's March 4th. And let's cover this stuff. So this is just a little scan of the messes from last winter. Alright, so here's the green giant arborvitae. These guys are doing pretty good. That's the new tractor dyno from last fall. Can't wait to implement it. So far, the overwintering of these northern spire arborvitaes has been great. And this is the heavy mulch bed with the King Stropharia mushrooms. Although there's no sign of any of that growth right now. They all melted off last fall. But they were pretty impressive mushrooms. Some of them were almost 10 inches across. Okay, there's not much to speak of in this area. Green giant arborvitae snowmobile project. Hopefully I'll get to that before next winter. The old drill press. So the apple tree row, not much of my broadcast cover crops went anywhere in this bed. What do we got? One lonely mustard, looks like, it survived, or maybe that's a turnip. It's hard to say. And I have been slowly spreading out this straw. It's just so there's some biomass, nutrient return to the soil. Although I am thinking more and more I'd rather just have a hedge of those arborvitae along here rather than these apple trees. It's not a real productive area. Again, the neighbor's elm tree that comes over here and over well into my yard. It's a little bit annoying. So the F550 project is coming right along. Got a bunch of the bed hacked off so far. Trailer needs to be straightened again thanks to the F550, but at least I'm getting my ramps a little more convenient to implement. And I recently switched to carbon dioxide, cheaper alternative to shilling gas. Man, is it ever fun. And it looks pretty nice. Not much over there that I want to think about. So this bed, once again, all of that perennial rhizome propagated grass. I think it's Johnson grass. I'm not 100% sure. It's down. Not much of the other cover crop stuff that I seeded into this bed just did much. The annual ryegrass, the winter hawk annual rye, has kind of survived over here. A little tiny bit of volunteer hairy vetch. Otherwise, this other grass, it gets tall and it's pretty dominant. These arborvitae are still doing just great. They had a little bit of growth, over the winter season so far. And yeah, that one on the right is still smaller than the others. It's behind, but something very interesting has happened, and oh no, it looks like the The furthest west one is still, it's still in the lead. Ooh. And my new cats. These guys are awesome. They've already harvested one vole for me. This thing is getting interesting. It's not in the greatest spot, unfortunately, for the pool, but I am going to let it grow up and over and just be something novel to enjoy. Not much survived in this bed over the winter. We'll see if those burning bushes actually make it. Even the voles have really done a number on them. And let's get into the main garden here. So we got this farthest east row. It's mixed clover, alfalfa, and grass hay. There's a lot of clover in it, so it should have some pretty decent nutrition for the soil. It hasn't broken down much though over the winter. Otherwise, the cereal rye establishment last year was great. The stand is pretty good. This is going to be a really dense, awesome stand. But that one spot where I didn't disc in and all the rest of this was disced in, I left this because I wanted these walking stick kales to just sort of take over, but they didn't survive the winter well, not like some other kales. Yeah, see, there's a little bit of a survivor spot. That red boar kale, that beautiful red curly leaf stuff, seems to tolerate winters a lot better. I might actually do an overwinter test row with that stuff. So now I gotta get, this was a heavy amaranth and just a bad weed bed. So I really gotta get something that's gonna grow and shade out these weeds in early spring. Now I've come to this side, but I did sow in Balanza clover and some brassicas, but really not much made it except for the cereal rye. And the cereal rye is pretty extensive, and I guess we'll see that some of the other clovers don't really have much upward growth, or not much evidence that they're even there until the soil warms up and they sort of kick out a little better. So that's kind of a bummer. I didn't really get any overwinter or last season biomass production from the legumes. And this pain in the butt bed. Yeah, it's just cereal rye, and I seeded the heck out of this, disked it in. It's just a tough site right now. It gets a little bit of winter low sun shade from the fence, so it's a cold bed. And although I see a little bit of germination of some clover stuff, which is fascinating. Even the cereal rye didn't seem, maybe here's a good spot, but it seems sparse. Maybe it's okay here in the middle. So this is the area, roughly from, let me back up, from here on and out here, whatever. This was a log pile, and this really didn't perform well last year with that sorghum Sudan grass. The biomass production in the outer strip was great. I would say, well, maybe I'll say relatively good. Definitely not ideal. And I didn't fertilize it, so maybe I did a little bit of bone meal, but no chemical fertilizer. So I definitely got to get some legumes in here and get the soil loosened up. This is it's the same as the whole yard. It's heavy clay, very low organic matter, and it's never had any additions. Whereas the entire rest of the main garden has had literally tons of compost. I got to remember, I've probably got 30,000 pounds of compost tilled into this whatever 1,000 square foot area. Alright, moving on. This was last year's Privacy Blend sorghum bed. I planted this pine tree at some point last year, white pine, and it seems to have overwintered pretty well. A little browning some of the needles. This site drains pretty well now. It did not always drain well. I broadcast a lot of cereal rye into this, but germination was pretty poor, and that's sort of to be expected. This is a really heavy mat of sorghum. So I'm debating whether to straw and wood mulch the area or clean off some of this biomass and compost it. I haven't made up my mind yet, but I figured I'd log it here in this video just so I know where I started. Back corner, nothing remarkable. Still having a hard time getting much to grow back there. I've got a mulberry, and that really sucks the soil moisture down pretty seriously. This white pine, the one from 3 seasons ago now, I think, is doing great. It's forming a nice mulch of pine needles under it. I can get those logs out of there. That's nothing but a vole den right now. This area still looks like, I'm honestly not sure if that's a surviving, that's probably winterhawk, that winter survivable annual ryegrass. It did pretty well in here. I don't see much evidence of anything else. Well, I guess I'll take a step back and look at these guys. These arborvitae are finally starting to take off. They're really planted a little too close to the hedge of buckthorn, which is on the other side of the fence. But their job is a privacy screen, so they're starting to do their job. Whereas this one, that was a smaller plant, planted 2 years after these, is literally exploding. It is growing in the remains of this old elm tree, though, so that probably is helpful. This volunteer oak tree is moving right along. It's not growing real fast, but seems to be doing well. I'm gonna get rid of that elm stump to give it some space. I'm kind of curious to see if the oak tree will heave that elm right out of the ground or not. This is interesting. Quite the battle. So I did these gourd or arches last year, which I like, and the gourds were great. Here's the other one. And this is currently the four-wheeler course right on around here. And but I think I want to bend some hoops, make an actual high tunnel greenhouse type structure, and hang lattice on it, and have an ultimate gourd growing structure going all the way up on either side, or on either side of this path up to that hay bale or so. provide some nice vertical growing space just for the viney stuff. But getting back to this bed, last year was its first year of any sort of production. It was like kind of a nightmare area. Trees growing over, shaded, weeds, old piles of debris, wood chips, logs. So it took a lot of work to get it cleaned out. And it did make some gourds and a little bit of corn and some sunflowers, but not impressive. Although this area is higher and there's a lot of organic matter here, it's, again, it's hard to grow stuff next to mulberry trees. They really draw down the soil moisture. So here's the kind of neglected Johnson Sioux bioreactor. It's only half full, and I let it freeze, and I haven't been watering it. So shame on me. But this year maybe I'll fill it and open it and whatever, re-moisten it if necessary. I'm trying to just get the ryegrass in every space possible. That is where I don't want to mow. It's a little sparse here. That'll be weedy if I don't get something else growing there. And this north strip, I disked in my seeds. Cereal rye took really well, and nothing else. Well, I shouldn't say nothing else. It seems like I saw some clover, and I don't know. I had red clover in here, and I'll bet you this is the red clover, the medium red, if there's a triangle. It's sparse, but there's some there, so that's promising. I think I don't know if red clover will tolerate being under the shade canopy of 6 foot tall cereal rye. But whatever. This bed was a mess last year, so I really gotta let this rye do its job and try and inhibit as much of the amaranth as possible. I did have kind of a wet spot, and I thought at one point I wanted a little retention area kind of where I'm filming, so that as the water ran around from the upper yard, it would come around here and then eventually go down. But I got a little berm, tiny berm, only about 2 inches tall. So then all it did was drive the water off into the garden. Got this channel cut here to help the drainage, keep it out of the bed. Unfortunately, cereal rye just doesn't like being waterlogged. And this area was heavy voles. I remember 3 seasons ago now I did do sweet potatoes here, and the vole pressure got heavy at that point, and it's still, they still like the spot. Although the soil's loose here, so that's the part of the problem. Start fixing the soil, and those little digging creatures enter the picture. Let's see. Tiller. Well, here, let's go back. Let's not pass this up. So here's I moved my wood chip pile. It's just coarse chips. I use it for mulch. So last year I had the yellow blossom sweet clover and the sorghum here, and I was hoping then to let the yellow blossom sweet clover take back over in the spring for its second year, its biennial growth year, but the sorghum sedan grass, it just can't handle the kind of shade that the sorghum produced, so that's unfortunate. So I gave up on that experiment. I kind of was excited to experiment with some kind of relay. Oh man, you all right, buddy? Yeah. Anyway, I was excited to experiment with some kind of relay crop, and yellow blossom just needs to be, I guess, more or less by itself or with stuff that isn't taller than it is. So that's that. Now I got wood chips up against the pool, which is, let's see if the greenhouse heating trick, see if how much heat that generates and puts into the steel wall of the pool. I doubt it'll be worth or measurable even, but I know people, if you can generate a lot of heat out of a pile of decomposing wood chips, so obviously I'll have to scoot it up closer to the side and maybe put a tarp over it. Yeah, the Euonymus Fortunii did great this winter, but it's such a slow-growing plant. It stays evergreen all year. It's this beautiful, beautiful shade, hedge, privacy. Now we just need to get it to grow down this whole fence. Okay, let's move on to the grape and blackberry vine, or the no longer grape. Cab Franks all died off the previous winter. And this is where I did put in poorly rooted, not very well rooted cuttings from the better of the blackberry vines, and I still see some green. There's a chance these things are going to make it, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. Some of them were rooted better than others. Here's Cody's raspberry vine. So these are thorny. Ooh, watch that. That's thorny. So I got some of the runners underground, so we'll see if we could get an air layering here. Grapevines, I just got to get taken out this season. Yeah, oh wow, incredible vole pressure here. Jeez. Man. You get them. You gotta get them. Let's see. A bunch of the brassicas survived over the winter. We didn't have a very harsh winter this year. And hopefully this guy returns. This was an air layering of one of the better thornless blackberries. Oh yeah, we got some growth. This is the sweeter, more flavorful thornless blackberry. I honestly don't know what variety it is, as I got these from Carl Karbelski. So these ones and on down are all the variety that I started years ago from Romeoville, brought over here. So I got actually a bunch of air layerings in the grass here, which I can't wait to clip off and get planted somewhere and be able to mow along here again. I got to get this trellis straightened out too, so these massive vines have somewhere to go. I like the fact that they could grow up and arch and be 12 or more feet long, really, in the main run. So this will be a pretty neat area once they're trained up and a little bit more overhead. And there's the other crazy mulberry growing next to this improving white oak. That white oak really started taking off once I topped that mulberry off. And let's see here. Hey kitty. Oh yeah, there's the Kodiak. We got this four-wheeler in mid-February. So that's exciting. That's been a lot of fun. apple trees aren't doing a whole lot yet. Seems to me that these over here are bud out a little later anyhow. Yeah, I gotta get into these beds. I let this one go last year. It's gonna be weedy. And it sure is my, oh yeah, there's that one surviving tiger eye cutleaf staghorn sumac. So anyway, this bed, I really want to do another nice, I got to get some garden mix in here, get some more of those. I'm not sure if I'm going to do Northern Spire or Brandon or one of the arborvitae that aren't quite as tall a growing. Get a nice privacy hedge going here though. Oh yeah, this off the deck bed. Wow, did I ever seed this heavily and repeatedly, and then the voles actually dug enough to where they affected the cereal rye growth. It sucks. So this is, for some reason, a really hard spot. But last year's sunflowers did okay. They're still standing. And so, yeah, that's that. Anything else? This banana, there is a Musa basso under here, and it actually survived all the previous winter totally uncovered. I couldn't believe it. And it only grew a foot tall last year. Can't wait to see what it does this year. And I didn't. This pile is shrinking now. It's breaking down rapidly. But this was one of the larger Basso bananas. Maybe I'll run up front. Let's just check out the front plantings real quick. Yeah, I got a bunch of seedling silver maples to clean out of this bed and that bed from those trees. And I'm looking forward to this spot. I'm gonna put a couple yards of garden mix here and get this raised up and get probably some big arborvitae, the green giant, I guess. I don't know, maybe not. There's power lines pretty close here. Maybe I'll try to do the, you know what, we'll just see what happens. See how I feel. Yeah, that bed should be just far enough away from the lines to where, bam, just out of the way. And these tiger eyes were doing great. Still, these oak leaf hydrangeas over here, the two that survived, really aren't doing very impressive, honestly. We'll see what happens. They're really growing slow. Still can't find my damn well. I know it's somewhere out here, I just don't exactly know where. So I've been probing and digging and traced the pipe from the inside, so I know it comes out from inside the garage 17 feet, which, as I recall, was right here, where there is some sort of a sweep or a kick. So whatever, it's here somewhere. I just gotta find it. It's obviously probably 6 or 8 inches below the surface right now. I don't remember what that little evergreen was. This might be a good time. Oh, it's a gold cone juniper. We'll see how that does, or how it looks. Here's the other. Oh yeah, these are more northern spires. Not a very tall growth habit. What did we say here? 15 feet or so? Oh, 15 to 20 by 3 to 6 wide. That's kind of the modeled privacy that I'm after here. Another one here. Eventually I'll get to the sidewalk. Oh, also eventually I'll finish that front staircase with the pickets and the rest of the handrail. Oh yeah. My red bud, it should be budding out here soon. Nothing really impressive going on over here. The banana, I can't wait to see what it does this year. I hope the voles haven't infiltrated and eaten up the rhizomes, but oh yeah, and my Arctic fire dogwoods, they looked pretty good this winter. That's nice. I should get some more of them, really. And the China snow pecan lilac is really growing. And I think that's it. Oh wait, how about the catalpa? I can't really see it very well. It is growing like a weed, and I'm loving it. So, seems like a good spot for it. While I'm out here in the front yard, yeah, I'm gonna do a bed there probably, also with some arborvitae or some little more privacy to conceal the house, or more likely conceal my activities. All right, peace out.